Right up until the end of the 20th century, Grenache was the second most planted red wine grape in the world. That all changed in the late 80s and 90s when a lot of vineyards in Europe were pulled out, a lot of old vines, and a lot of them were Grenache and Carignan vines. I think right now it's the 7th most planted red grape variety in the world, but don't let that fool you. It's responsible for some of the world's greatest red wines. Until relatively recently, you didn't see wines that were just labeled Grenache. For the most part, they were included in blends. A lot of wines in the southern Rhone, the Languedoc-Roussillon, namely Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Gigondas, Vacheras. These are wines made primarily of Grenache with some Syrah and Mourvèdre. You go right across the border, and a lot of regions in Spain include Garnacha in the blend, especially Priorat and Monstant. The grape actually probably should be called Garnacha, not Grenache, because it's a grape with Spanish origins. I don't know why it is that we call it Grenache. Maybe it's because most of the world's plantings are in France. It's the second most planted red grape variety in France behind Merlot. The country with the second most planted vines of Grenache or Garnacha is Spain, and then it's scattered throughout the world. Some of the highest quality Châteauneuf-du-Papes are made of 100% Grenache, namely Rayas and a lot of prestige cuvées. You'll also find Grenache planted in Italy, where on the island of Sardinia it goes by the name Cananao. Down in Maremma in the south of Tuscany, they just simply know it as Alicante. In northern Italy, it's known as Tairoso. And in Umbria, right around Trasimeno, it's known as Gamay di Trasimeno. I remember when my wine career just began, and I was with a Belgian writer, and I told him how much I love Grenache, and he looked at me all excitedly and said, "It can be like Burgundy." Grenache can be incredibly complex, a lot of red fruits, sometimes leather notes, notes of sage, thyme. When vineyards are overcropped, it can be pretty light in color, can oxidize, it can be pretty uninteresting. When it's concentrated and the yields are reduced, it can make some rich, powerful wines. However, they can climb in alcohol. Really hard to find the right balance. Sometimes Grenache to me can taste a little bit stewed. I personally like the examples you're going to find in Australia, Washington State, California, producers that are really passionate about the variety. I feel like it has just the right amount of balance of red fruit flavors, sprinkled in with a touch of white pepper. The fruit flavors can become real sweet tasting, not that the wine is sweet, but the fruit can be really intense. That's why I think it's a wine that can be enjoyable to a lot of people, yet have the nuances that us hardcore wine geeks absolutely love. I also think wines that are labeled Grenache offer absurd value for money. Right here, I have 11 different Grenaches from all over the world, ranging from 18 bucks all the way up to $55. Let's blind taste them, see what the differences are, see which one's right for you. Let's get it. And we're back, tasting on my Gabriel Glas Standart editions. Love these glasses, universal glasses. I have a link in the description below. I think they're going to be great for Grenache. Check them out. Helps the channel if you purchase with that link. So thank you. Like always, have these Coravin. Had somebody help me mix them up. I'm ready to rock and roll. You don't always get the videos chronologically. I shoot a bunch of them and then decide when to release them. It's taken me months to gather all these samples. When I'm tasting Grenache, I want sweet strawberry, raspberry type flavors. I want white pepper. Usually the wine's going to come with a little bit of higher alcohol, but it's usually integrated pretty well, so you know what, it's fine. The most common wines you've probably come across that are Grenache based or Côte de Rhône. I've been tricked in blind tastings thinking that Châteauneuf-du-Pape 100% Grenache is Pinot Noir. So let's take a look here. Let's start with wine number 1. Usually these wines don't have a ton of color. Wine 1, a lot of sweet strawberry and raspberry. The fruit dominates here. It's not as peppery. It's more fruity. It smells like an elegant wine. That is an incredibly pretty Grenache. I think a lot of people would not guess that it's Grenache. It's a very good start. Let's move on to wine number 2 here. Wine 2 has more rhubarb, more meat type flavors. Still, you get the pure fruit that comes across, just a touch of licorice. Number 2 is very good. It's long. It's got this nice peppery finish. I think it's actually an exceptional wine. 2 is what I want to drink. Wine 3 has a little bit of volatile acidity. Kind of reminds me of something from the Rhone, something old world. This has more cherry type flavors. A lot of pepper. This is an incredibly complex wine. Oh. Number 3 has a lot of nuances. It's tannic, it's peppery, it's long. I think the VA is gonna bother some people, but that's very, very, very good. Really tannic. I mean, this is a big wine, astringent. A lot of people say dry, which is confusing. When you talk about dry wine, that always means that it's wine that all the sugars have been fermented from grape juice into wine. Tannins is a little bit different, that astringency. A lot of people say that's drying feeling, but that has nothing to do with whether a wine's dry or not. not. VA is gonna bother some people, but I think it's awesome. Let's move on to wine 4. Sweet strawberry, almost like a dried strawberry fruit snack, sprinkled with a little bit of cardamom, pepper. Number 4 to me feels the most Mediterranean, so to speak. It's a little bit riper fruits. Some people like that style, so other people don't. I think it's an excellent wine. I'm not disappointed with any of these wines so far. I'm not gonna try to guess which countries these are from. I feel like since I know what the wines are ahead of time, then somebody mixes them up. I feel like sometimes when I'm doing these blind tastings, I'm trying to guess which wine is which is not useful in blind tasting. You should just be tasting for quality, so that's what I'm gonna do here. Let's move on to wine number 5. Wine 5 shows a little bit of wood, but in a good way. It's got real polished wood, but it's very integrated with cherry flavors. Strawberry, more black raspberry. It's so funny because the wood shows up on the nose, not at all on the palate. This has lots of juicy acidity. Might be the longest wine so far out of all these, the first 5 I've tasted. I mean, 5 is seriously like right up my alley. These are awesome. Grenache is probably my second favorite red wine grape. I like pure Grenache. I tend to gravitate towards those from Australia or California, New World pure Grenache flavors. Grenache from the south of France or Garnacha from Spain, a lot of times they're blended because that's traditionally what they did. I want my Grenache to have lighter color, to be true Grenache. 6 is lighter in color for sure. Not strawberry, it's pure raspberry flavor. Maybe just a little bit of thyme. 6 is gonna be a crowd pleaser. It's just fruity, it's just enjoyable. It has enough going on, but yet it's so easygoing that I think a lot of people are really gonna love it. It's not gonna get the highest score, but I'm telling you right now, I really enjoy number 6. Honestly, gonna be really hard to keep my hands off some of these wines. 7, again, more solar. Well, it's more like dried strawberry flavors, almost like a strawberry and cherry jam, a little bit of violets. Mouthfeel, stereotypical what you're gonna get out of Grenache, that sweet red fruit flavors. I usually say that I like more delicate style wines. I really like the sweet fruit flavors here. 8, I smell a touch of wood. I smell a little bacon fat. I know that doesn't sound good. Raspberry, blackberry. This I could not tell that is Grenache. Blind tasting, I don't think. Let's see what it's like on the palate. It really reminds me of sweet raspberry jam, like that filling you're gonna have in a pie. Has wood, bacon fat. You know, the wood might come on strong for a lot of people, but you can tell it's an ambitious wine. It's wine that's probably gonna be too young. A wine that can age. Grenache is such an interesting grape because it's a wine that doesn't have to see a lot of wood, although some do. They can be aged in cement, and you can enjoy them pretty young. That's a pretty good wine. The wood's a little heavy for me now, but actually it's a super good wine. 9 is dark. Wine 3, 5, and 8 led with a little bit of wood. In the case of 3, low volatile acidity. Wine 9, so weird. It led with more garrigue, more of those thyme, rosemary, sage type flavors, but on the palate, it was pretty fruity. Really interesting. Very big dichotomy of what's on the nose versus what's on the palate. Interesting wine. Wine number 10 here. Lots of sweet, sweet, sweet jam. Just a touch of wood, cedar, jam type flavors, leather. I feel like this one might be the one that's the most aged. And it might be off-putting to some people, but I'm telling you, the length is incredible. It's pretty good. Wine 11, just pepper, 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 and thyme. Here's the thing, all of these wines have length. Number 3 was the most tannic, but Grenache has these type of sandy tannins. I want to drink all these wines. They're absolutely delicious. This was a ridiculously enjoyable tasting start to finish. I thought these were some excellent wines. I do have an Australian wine here, a South African, a California, Washington State, you know, France, Spain, Italy. I could not tell the difference between maybe only one. Let's start out with wine number 9 here. It's the one that I said leads with more garrigue, more thyme, sage, that type flavor. Then red fruit flavors came on. There was the biggest difference between the nose and the palate. So many wines here, I have to make sure I got right. Okay, wine number 9, 90 points. Let's take a look. This is the Montirius, the Gigondas Latour Rouge 2021. This is a biodynamic producer. 80% Grenache, 20% Mourvedre, 33 bucks. Gigondas, a very famous appellation right next to Châteauneuf-du-Pape. No wonder it had so many Garrigue type notes. I'm surprised it wasn't more tannic. 90 points, I thought it was very good, but I did not expect it to be Gigondas. I've got 2 tied for 90 plus points. Let's start out both of these, especially I think I said wine number 6. It's wine number 6 and wine number 1. And remember, I said maybe they're not going to get the highest scores in the world, but they're wines I really enjoy drinking. 6 is going to be a crowd pleaser. It's just fruity. It's so easygoing that I think a lot of people are really going to love it. It's not going to get the highest score, but I'm telling you right now, I really enjoy number 6. Raspberry, thyme. It was really fruity. Wine 6, 90 plus points. Let's take a look and see what it is. This is the David Nadia from South Africa. Smartland Grenache 2019, 39 bucks. Brought in by Michael Skiernick. I've had a few of their wines before. Smartland. This is the western part of the Southern Cape. They have Old Vine Chenin Blanc, Old Vine Pinotage. Some of the most exciting wines there are Rhone blends. David Nadia is known as maybe the best producer. I thought this was very good. Like I said, didn't get the highest score, but it's a wine that I want to drink a lot of. I think I might open that tonight. Excellent wine. So far we have France, we have South Africa. I didn't know the differences. Let's go with number 1 that's also tied 90 plus points. Sweet strawberry flavors. It's fruity. It's elegant. This is the only wine where I think I might have guessed where it's from. I have one wine from Sardinia here, and I think this is it. But with blind tasting, it's always tough. Let's take a look here. It is not. This is the Sleight of Hand Cellars, the Sorceress from Washington State, Grenache, Yakima Valley, 55 bucks. I have to give Washington State a heck of a lot of credit here. This is 14.8 alcohol, so probably over 15. I thought this was almost quasi Pinot Noir like. Sometimes Washington State wines I feel like can get a little bit burly. This was exceptional. 90 plus points. I am incredibly elegant. They make excellent Riesling too. Sleight, the Sorceress, great job. I think their wine was also in one of the lists for the top 100 wines of 2022. I actually think all these 3 wines so far, I didn't want to go super crazy because I love Grenache so much and I'm trying to be a little bit more critical with my scores. I might have been a bit conservative. Wine number 4, strawberry fruit snack type of flavor and pepper. I think, you know, that's what got to me. I like fruit snacks. One of my vices in life is these fruit snacks. Stuff like Gushers, fruit roll-ups, that type of deal. I eat healthy for the most part, but those things I can't resist. The strawberry fruit snack got to me 91 points. Let's take a look at number 4 is. I have no idea where it's from. No idea. This is the Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Domaine de la Presidente, Châteauneuf-du-Pape Rouge 2021 Young, 38 bucks. This is 80% Grenache, 10% Syrah, 5% Cinsault, 5% Mourvedre. So in California, technically a wine only has to be 75% of a grape to actually call it that grape on the label. Like Cabernet Sauvignon from California only has to be 75% Cabernet Sauvignon. So technically this is a Grenache. 38 bucks for a Châteauneuf-du-Pape, and one that's not too heavy, 91 points. I think that's an excellent buy, especially if you want to try Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Châteauneuf-du-Pape is probably the most famous cru from the south of France. That and Priorat are probably the premium areas in Europe, at least for Grenache. Looks like we're gonna have a lot of upsets here. Okay, number 8, bacon fat and wood. And the wood got to me a little bit at first on the nose, but on the palate, just so much sweet raspberry flavors, and the length was really good. Ambitious winemaking. I gave it 92 points. It's the one that I said, I don't know if I could tell that this is Grenache in a blind tasting. You gotta be okay with the wood to like this wine. Let's take a look here. Number 8. Let's see here. Wow, this is a distinctive one. This is the Bodegas Borsal. This is the Tres Picos Garnacha 2019. Runs about 18 bucks. This is from the region of Campo de Borja in Aragon in Spain. Maybe the birthplace of Garnacha. This is a cooperative, offers tremendous value for money, and at 18 bucks, I gave it 92 points. Again, you got to be okay with the wood. Spanish Garnacha does surprise me a lot of times. Sometimes I don't pick out that it's Grenache. This is 100% Garnacha. No wonder it's good. 18 bucks, 92 points. That's worth checking out. 2 here tied for 92 plus points. Number 7, strawberry jam. It was the most violet out of them. It's the one I think I said that it had the stereotypical sweet fruit mouthfeel of Grenache. It offers strawberry jam, violet, sweet fruit, 92 plus points. I have no idea where it's from. Let's take a look here. California. This is the Beckman Vineyard Grenache, Santa Ynez Valley. $30. I've seen it for sometimes $25 from Santa Barbara County. Only 750 cases produced. This is a biodynamic producer, excellent producer of Syrah, Grenache-based wines. Beckman gets some humongous scores in U.S. press. I think they offer tremendous value for money. I highly recommend this wine. I obviously make a wine called Cuvée Le Bec, which is, you can find it for like $20, which is a GSM blend. Really good wine. Also tied with 92 plus points, number 11, white pepper, thyme, strawberry flavors. The white pepper and the thyme, that's what jumped out of the glass for me. I gave it also 92 plus points. Let's take a look and see where this bad boy is from. We've got some surprises. Australia, the two new worlds back to back. This is the Yalumba Barossa Bushvine Grenache 2020. Also $18, 92 plus points. I'm telling you, Grenache, insane value for money. Yalumba is a pretty big producer, but in Australia, it's not owned by a big corporation. It's still a family-run organization. I really this was 14.5 alcohol, and again, the alcohol doesn't pop out. Alcohol can be really deceiving, guys. If the alcohol is integrated into the wine, sometimes it does not matter at all. $18, I think it was very good, and you can get that wine. It's widely distributed. Wine number 10, I gave a pretty darn high score. This is the one that had cedar. It had the stewed fruit flavors, but I could not deny the length. The length was excellent. I gave it 93 points. Let's take a look and see what it is. Croatia coming to play. This is the Bibich G6 Grenache 2017. 100% Grenache from Dalmatia, Croatia. Croatia, I think this is the only varietal Grenache I've ever seen in Croatia. I know Croatian wines really well. A lot of the Grenache in northern Dalmatia is actually used for rosé. This is $26. In Croatia, it's even less. Not one of his top wines, and I have to say, that showed really well. Bibich also famous because the late Anthony Bourdain, when he did his episode of No Reservations, Coastal Croatia, he went to Bibich, and in the episode, he falls down and passes out because he's so drunk because he likes the wines so much. That was tied with number 2, which I also gave 93 points. Strawberry, rhubarb type flavors, had licorice, long. It was quite peppery. Thought it was very good. Gave it 93 points as well. Number 2, let's take a look here and see. This is from Sardinia. This is the Antonella Corda Cananao de Sardinia 2021, $26, 14.5 alcohol. Again, incredibly elegant. I go to Sardinia every single year. I prefer the Carignano de Sulcis versus Cananao because I think the quality of Cananao is kind of irregular throughout the island. This producer makes it more delicate. In Sardinia, Cananao is what they call Grenache. $26 in the US. It's a lot less in Europe. And I am really impressed. I've met Antonella before. I've went to one of her wine dinners. Antonella, good job. I'm impressed. Okay, the top 2. Number 3, the volatile acidity, that kind of vinegar-like flavor. This is going to turn off a lot of people. I personally like it because it tastes to me more Italian. It's peppery, it's long, it's the most tannic. I thought it might be the Châteauneuf-du-Pape, honestly, because the tannin quality. This is not going to be to everybody's liking. I think the VA might be a little bit high for people. It really, to me, I really enjoyed it. 93 plus points. Let's take a look here. Wowzers! Spain coming to play. This is the Vinyes Domenech. This is the Teixar Garnacha Vide Finca 2017. This comes in at $46. Monstant in Catalonia, Spain. A couple things here. Garnacha Vella, this is hairy Grenache, a slight mutation of Grenache. Vide Finca is a classification of Grand Cru in Catalonia. There's only 10, I think, in Catalonia, and this is the only one in Monstant. The tannin quality was outstanding. It was long. $46. I think it's even less in Spain. Now I know what number 1 is, and this is a shocker of an upset, I have to tell you. This had wood, which might bother some people, but it was ambitious winemaking. It was long, and on the palate, it was so incredibly long with a lot of bright red fruit flavors. 94 points. I knew this wine was good, but I was not expecting it to win. This is the Madrevite. This is the Cosa. This is a Gamay del Trasimeno Riserva 2020. $50 in the US. I'm more familiar. They have an entry level Gamay de Trasimeno, which is called Oprah, which is an outstanding wine. Trasimeno Lake is in Umbria. You can see it from Cortona. I've actually sailed the lake before. It's incredibly beautiful. Gamay de Trasimeno is Grenache, even though they call it Gamay. What an upset. Umbria, I'm telling you, Umbria makes fantastic wines. Not as heralded as Tuscany, but hey, look at what they're showing out. There honestly is not one bad wine here. I recommend all of these wines, and that's not always the case. That's a heck of a tasting. Tell me, do you like Grenache, Garnacha? Do you have any favorite producers, regions? Drop it in the comments below. I'll see you guys soon.